Today, I'm hoping to have some luck with respect to some of the remaining difficult items that we have in our quest for everything. Welcome back to Exploration and Tactics with Brian. Last time we left off, I had been caving, hoping to find a dungeon or a mine shaft chest that might contain an enchanted golden apple, which is one of the items that we still need to get that's going to require a fair bit of luck. And I haven't played in a number of days, but I'm right back at it trying to do the same thing. Last time I just kind of rambled about a variety of different topics. For today's episode, as we were doing the caving, for today's episode, I think what I am going to do is do a fair bit more editing, because I imagine I might need to cave for a long while before I even find another dungeon. And as I come up with different things to talk about, I will bring you guys back in for the interesting bits and things to chat about. Well, I've been caving for about 10 minutes, and I did manage to find this. And so that is a nice little bonus. Thank you, diamonds. I already had some diamonds, but now I'm up to 22. Very nice. Haven't managed to find any dungeons, but so far the caves have just kind of continued going, and I've intersected a couple of ravines. And so the cave system that I'm in is quite promising. But in any case, I will go ahead and mention... Ooh, more diamonds. Hey, that was lucky. And some zombies as well. Thought I heard a second zombie, but maybe it was just the one. I should mention that I've actually completed, looks like there might be something over here as well, my first on-camera playthrough of Vanilla Swirl CTM. And so that should be airing hopefully in not too long, probably starting in the next week or so. And I'm looking forward to that both because I was kind of beta testing some new features that I could still afford to do some refining on, and I was actually fixing some bugs this morning. And also just because I finally want to kind of get it out there and talk about the map a bit. Hey, I'm glad I kept digging to see if there were more diamonds here, because they were hiding. Neat, 33 diamonds. That's quite nice. I do have a silk touch pick on me and an ender chest. Not that I'm in too much danger of dying with the good armor that I have, but let's go ahead and sock those away in there. I guess we can throw some iron ore in there as well for the moment. And I think I'm happy enough with that. But yes, I'm really looking forward to just being able to talk about the design of the map and various challenges that I have faced while trying to make this randomly generated CTM map that I've made. All right, I'll continue up this way. But it doesn't really make sense to talk about the design of the map until I've actually played through the map on camera. Because there'll be spoilers, and I'd like people, even if they're not going to play, who are just going to watch, to kind of like see the map at practice, and also just, give you a better feel of the map, having watched it play through, before I then try to go and commentate about, I don't know, the various design considerations and things that I've done. Alright, it seems that we've reached a dead end up here. Could use a little bit more coal, and so I'll grab this. But at this point, possibly a couple different cave systems that I was just in, kind of dead-ended. And how close am I to the surface right now? I'm only at 33. Yeah, so I guess I'll try to continue to cave around, see if we can find any more good cave systems that might have dungeons or abandoned mine shafts hiding, and I'll bring you guys back as necessary. I felt like I had exhausted that cave system, and so I've come back up to the surface to discover that it is raining. Oh boy, apparently there's a creeper there too. Alright, hello creeper. Do I have any idea where I am? I'm in a swamp. Right, I think I came down into this cave system in a swamp. And home would be towards 0, which is not this way. Or this way, okay. So I think home is back this way, if I just did that correctly. Guess we'll find out shortly. And it's very dark, I apologize. But since it was raining, I was like, there's always a tiny chance that we'll get a thunderstorm. The rain sounds are still extremely quiet. I seem to recall I was fiddling around with this before. Let's move the weather up to 10%. There we go. That's pleasant. I just want to make sure that they're at least on, because if and when there is a thunderstorm, I want to definitely be able to hear the lightning strikes. And so we will do that. Do I have respiration on this helmet? I do. I was like, I can see so well underwater. It's crazy. That would be the reason. All right, I can see home once again. I'm going to go home. I'm going to drop off some things. It looks like the sun is perhaps about to rise. Assuming this does not turn into a thunderstorm, then I think after kind of clearing out my inventory, we will head back out once again in a new spot and try to find some more good cave systems, as well as some abandoned mine shafts, hopefully, because abandoned mine shafts will be much more likely to have easy to find and access chests where we might be able to find an enchanted golden apple. As I was sorting through my inventory, I had a Smite 4 book, which reminded me that in the previous episode we found a zombie dungeon, I believe. And did I also find a skeleton dungeon that I haven't marked yet? I can't recall for sure, but in any case, I'm certain that we found a zombie dungeon, and so I'm going to add 1 to the count of zombie dungeons, since that was on this trip. And you guys can correct me if there's any other dungeons that I failed to mark here. But so far we found 2 skeleton dungeons, 4 zombie dungeons, and 1 spider dungeon. And that's how I'm keeping count over here. And I think this time, I'm going to ride a horse in order to get a little bit farther away from spawn so that we can do some caving in some new spots. So I'll see you where I see you. Oops. I took a trip to the southwest of spawn. And I appear to have found somewhere underground with some promise. There's at least a few bad guys around here, and it looks like we've broken into a decent-sized cave system. Just kind of dug down and listened for enemies. Yeah, this looks like it'll work. So let's get started here. Just going to be kind of lighting up randomly. And I can mention something else I was thinking that we could do in exploration and tactics that's not immediately related to the quest for every item, but that I would be interested in doing in the interest of science, would be to try to make some kind of automated dragon killer. So you can resummon the Ender Dragon now in this version of the game. I think using the Ender Crystals, which is something that I haven't crafted yet, but I believe I have the materials to craft. And when you resummon him, I think a lot of the end kind of like stays as it is, and you can kind of like set things up so that basically the idea is, and I just have kind of like a sketch of this based on what I read somewhere about how to kind of the dragon and the end healer crystals kind of respawn. The idea is to make kind of an automated system so that when the dragon respawns, it immediately shoots TNT to take out the various ender crystal healers again. And so that would leave you to just fight the dragon, and it might even be possible. Oops. I hear you, zombie, but I'm not sure where you are. I think you're around the corner right up here. Where are you, zombie? There you are. Hey, buddy. You have a sword. Good for you. I think he was holding a sword. I have a sword as well. I wonder, can they ever spawn holding axes now that axes are good weapons? I don't think it's the case that random zombies will ever spawn holding an axe. I think they only hold swords and shovels, but I'm not 100% certain about that. In any case, given the way that the dragon respawning works... Oops. Alright, we'll do that. Haha! I think basically what happens is where the end pillars are, the end pillars, like the obsidian pillars that hold the healing crystals on top of them, basically respawn, kind of like rewrite the terrain back to how they originally were, including, and this is some random tidbit that I read somewhere that I would be interested in testing out, including air spaces like 10 blocks above the top of the pillars. And so if that's the case, then I imagine I could take advantage of that by having some kind of redstone torch mechanism that would get replaced by the air blocks 10 spaces above the pillars, so that when the redstone torch was removed, it would kind of invert a signal of some redstone that was kind of higher up above where I guess let's try to go up before going down. So I'm going to do this. Make a little stairway. I'm not sure how well I'm describing this. Make like a little redstone system so that basically we'd be able to detect when new obsidian pillars were kind of like overwriting the old area. And as a result, then that could set off a redstone mechanism that then drops some TNT on the pillars, whose locations, I believe, do not change. And so you'd know exactly where you wanted to drop it in order to destroy the end crystal. And so that's something that I think would be fun to do. And so that's something else I was thinking about doing in this world, because other than fighting the dragon in the new dragon fight, and obviously exploring the end just long enough to get some of the new trinkets out of the end cities in a quest for every item. Like, I haven't respawned the dragon, and that's one of the new game mechanics, and I'm kind of curious about it. Both just to see how it goes, and also to see how we might be able to, I don't know, exploit it in the name of science and understanding. So, if you're interested in that, by all means let me know. And perhaps we'll do that in a future episode. Hello, zombie villager. Wow, did it just take me 3 strikes with this sword? I'm looking at the pick, not the sword. Sharpness 5, knockback 2. Okay, it's sharpness 5. I was thinking I was still carrying the smite sword, but I'm now carrying the sharpness and knockback sword. And I almost wonder if I should be carrying around my looting sword, just in case we see anyone with chain armor. Although these are chunks that I do not typically live in, and so the local difficulty is not going to be that high, and so it'll be unlikely to get random zombies and skeletons spawning in chain armor, since chain armor is something else we need to get. And while it is possible to trade for villagers to get the chain armor, I would prefer to get it from killing mobs, because that just seems like more fun. Even though we are going to eventually have to trade with villagers in order to get the XP bottle as well, since that's the only way that you can obtain that item in survival. And we are on a quest for every item, having gotten 479 or so of the 517 or so items that there are. Alright, well, I'm going to continue to cave around. Next time I go caving, I'm going to bring Depth Strider boots. It is much more pleasant. Hey! It took probably an hour, but I finally managed to find a dungeon. It appears that we have a skeleton dungeon. We'll check the chest in just a moment. Thought a few minutes earlier I had a really promising area where there's a ton of zombies all around, but they were just random spawns that had all kind of managed to find their way over to me at once. But we finally found Skeleton Dungeon. This area is reasonably safe. Let's see what we've won. Yeah, nothing too exciting there. Oh, and that's the only one. Darn. Alright, well, I'm going to take a screenshot. Oops, let's put the coordinates up. And I'm going to take a screenshot of where I found that particular skeleton dungeon. And I will save some of this stuff, so I will put it away and continue caving. Yeah, I guess there's a ravine here. Yep. I was not looking up. Hooray for good armor. I've just been racing around all day without a care in the world. And most caves, that works out okay. Ravines, not so much. Mob after mob just falling from the sky. Alright, I don't immediately see... It's hard to see, really. But I don't see any obvious cave system entrances over that way. So perhaps instead, I'll look. I guess we're in the ravine over here, too. Okay. Well, let me see if I can find some more caves. Well, I'm back home. Sadly, that ravine led nowhere after that, but we did at least find one more skeleton dungeon, so I'm going to go ahead and mark that off. Up to 8 dungeons found. And I want to take a look at some of the items that I have still yet to craft that are craftable. So let's take a little visit up here. and see what other items we have yet to make. Let's go ahead and make a few. I also don't know after editing where I'll be in this episode. That looks like a stone button, a diamond hoe, a cake. Oh, and I still never got the poisoned potato. All right, button, hoe, cake, potato. Let's see if I can knock some of those out. Well, I know I can knock some of those out. Let's see if I can knock all of those out. I have a bunch of bones and I could just kind of insta-farm up a bunch of potatoes really quick. But let's go ahead and make the other things first. I know that I have smooth stone somewhere in here. Actually, I have a better stack right here. And I think, is a stone button, is it just one or two? It's just one now. I think it used to be two. So stone button, get, is another item. And I will put this in kind of the miscellaneous redstone other stuff chest. And I meant to throw that back up in there. Then would we just say diamond hoe? I have a lot of diamonds at this point. In fact, I found some more while I was doing those hours of caving. 39 more to be exact, after fortuning them. So I don't feel at all bad at this point. Spending a couple of diamonds on a hoe as well. And then the cake means we're going to need 3 milk buckets. And what else? Do I have empty buckets in here? Got full buckets. Do I have empty buckets in... Pretty sure I have empty buckets in one of these chests. Oh, I've already got a milk bucket, actually. And we can just empty out a couple more of these water buckets. That will do. But it's milk, 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 sugar, egg, sugar. All right, 2 more milk buckets. Sugar, egg, sugar, wheat, wheat, wheat. And I've got the sugar and... Do I have eggs? I must have eggs around somewhere. So I ought to be able to make the cake. The cake will no longer be a lie. It will be an item that I've gotten. But let's see. Sugar, eggs. Here's an egg. Sugar I've probably crafted actually already and have sitting around in one of these chests. But I can always craft it if I need to. And all of the sugarcane has moved to where? Well, can always just grab some more. Great. And then wheat, wheat, wheat. And my wheat is here. It's the most exciting episode ever, watching Brian craft a cake. And I remember the milk goes on top because it's like the icing. And then sugar, egg, sugar goes in the middle. And then wheat makes the nice cakey base. Ta-da! Cake! The lie! And it registered twice because I had it as both the block and the item, which was a mistake. And I think an appropriate place to have cake in my world is out over here, where the skeleton horses won't be able to eat it, both because they don't eat cake and because they're trapped in their little pens, but also where the cake can get some good rain whenever it finally rains. Maybe we'll have a thunderstorm and lightning will strike the cake. I think that would be very appropriate. So I made the cake, I made the bow, I made the buttons, the buttons, and then the other thing I want to do is get a bunch of bone meal, which will be super easy, and go harvest up some potatoes. And who knows how long it'll take me to actually get a poisoned potato. So I will make a cut. Oh! Or maybe I won't make a cut because I'll just start bashing up the potatoes I've already got growing here. And I won't need to use any... this is another one of the skeleton horses from the skeleton trap that I just never rode back. I won't need to harvest any of them. Or bone meal any of them, because there's my poisonous potato. All right. Well, at least I've gotten some more items. I have a feeling that I'm going to cut a lot of footage out of this episode. So let me go see where we are in an episode and decide if we need to do some more. Looks like it'll be a little bit of a shorter episode today, but I'm okay with that. We have Protection 4 Depth Strider 3 and Protection 3 Feather Falling 4 boots that I can combine together into Protection 4 Depth Strider 3 Feather Falling 4 boots. Can also get some repair on the wear and tear. And so I'm going to do that. And it is the end of episode number 22. 2 episodes ago, I asked people to guess how many items I would have at the end of this episode. And almost all of the guesses were too high. But the one who came closest was Kill Poppers, guessed 485 items, and I have 484 on the scoreboard, which is not a completely accurate count, but that's how many I managed to end up with this time. And yeah, there's still a number of easy items that I can go after, and I'm trying to space them out so I can get them each episode as we try to go after the very difficult items of the chainmail, the notch apple, and the mob heads. So we'll see those hopefully at some point in the future, but I kind of walked around so you can see most of the remaining items that I have yet to get. I hope as always that you guys are having a good day. If you want to leave a guess as to how many items I will have at the end of episode number 24, you can leave a comment on this video or leave any other comment about how you think I'm doing. If you're having fun, I hope as always that you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.